Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is the card that I'm going to use today, and it's quite a big card. It's a 6x8, and the dies that I'm going to use are the Oval Regalia from Spellbinders and the little happy birthday sentiment, which is Sentiments 3. Now, all the supplies that I use for the flowers and the ribbons I will put into the description box underneath the video. So to create the base for the card, all I've done is taken an A4 piece of card and I've simply cut it in half. And then I've taken another piece of card that's the width of my base and I've folded it in half, and these are the right sides now facing down on the card. So I'm just going to glue my hinge inside what will be the base card. So I've put one side in, and now I'm just going to glue the other side and put the inside into the card. I'm just going to make sure it's all lined up and press that in place, and then with a pair of scissors all I need to do is cut off the excess, and that now is the card ready for me to work with. So with some pretty blue card I've created a smaller mat for my base, and then with some more white card I'm just going to leave a small border around two sides and put two little marks on my card and cut that down, and that will be another mat for my base. Now with that white mat that I've just cut, I'm going to use the Oval Regalia. Now to this there are 4 parts to this die, and the smallest die is always number 1. So we've got number 1, number 2, number 3 and number 4. So what I'm using is the 4 and the 3, and I'm going to make sure that they are in the centre of my mat. And what I'm going to do with that is run it through the die cutting machine, and once that's been die cut I'm then going to put that on one side because I need it later. I'm going to keep the lace bit for my card, and with the aperture part I've embossed it, and that's now going to sit on the front of my card along there. So these are the elements that I've got to my card, and on the back of the piece that I've embossed, the piece with the aperture in it, I've added in some foam tape just to support the card on the base. And I'm just going to work on the layers, so we'll pop the base card on one side. Now I need to pop that where it's going to be because I need to make sure that this is in place in the centre. And on the back of this I'm going to just add some glue, and this is going to be glued flat into the centre of that aperture. So we'll just dot some little bits of glue around it. So this is not fastened in yet, it's just in place, and we're going to pop that in the middle and make sure it's centred and stick that down. So now we can take that out of the way and make sure that that's all glued down, and it may need a little bit more glue under the edges. And then once I've done that I can then remove the foam tape from this and pop that back. So now this looks sunken into the centre of the card, and this piece is raised. So the centrepiece is laid flat and this is raised, and on the little piece that goes in the middle I'm adding a double layer of foam pads. So there's one, and on top of that I'm going to place another one. So we've got 2 layers on each part, and that's just going to sit in the centre along there. So that one now is raised even more. Now for the bottom of my card I've found some really pretty lace that you can slot a ribbon through, and I've found some blue ribbon and I'm going to slot it down through, up through this hole and back down through that. and then I can glue it to the card and the workings will be on the back. So once I have this glued in place, I can add foam tape to the back, and that's going to sit onto the front of my base card. And the foam pads, you can see the different layers in the card. Now I've also got some beaded trim, and I should have added this trim before I put the ribbon on, but it's nothing detrimental. I can just slide it up through the ribbon, and I need to just glue that in place along all 4 sides. So if you do 2 sides first, you'll be able to manipulate it a little bit better to make it fit. So there's 2 sides, and now along there I can just manipulate these 2 other pieces, and I'm going to add these with a glue gun so that I know they're stuck well in place. So I'm making sure that I'm putting plenty of glue down on there because I don't want this trim to fall off, and I'm going to line it up and add it into the space just along there. Okay, so now we've got the trim in place, we can work on the rest of the card. So with the happy birthday sentiment from Sentiment 3, I'm just going to pop it down onto some dark blue card, and I'm going to run it through the little sapphire machine, which is a lovely handy machine to keep on your desk for just cutting small items. So once I've run it through the machine, I can swap it over onto the base plate, put the little tan mat on and the embossing plate, and take it back through the machine again. And what I've done with this sentiment is I've cut it 4 times, and then with some glue I've just glued them all together so that I get a nice thick sentiment for my card. So I'm going to add this one in as well. So this is the last piece, and I've popped some glue on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to add it to the back of the sentiment, and that will sit along there. You need to make sure that they're all lined up, and then we can just pop that on one side to dry for a little minute. Okay, and there you've got a nice thick sentiment now to add to your cards. Just give it a few minutes just to set up. So I've made a little bow, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of the card, just along there, and for the middle of that I've got a little pearly cluster, and that's going to sit along there. So this is a selection of flowers that I might want to add to the card, and I'm going to mix in some very pale yellow with this display. So I'm putting a large one at the top, and then underneath that I'm just going to tuck in some of the white flower there, and the same on the other side, and I'm just trailing this so that it comes around the frame. And then on either side of that I think we'll add in a blue rose just along there, and another one just along there, and then into that we'll push some little flower buds, little rose buds. So I need to push those in while the glue's still wet. And I think that's just about it for that card. And then on the top we'll add in the happy birthday sentiment. So if you look, this is raised, so this is not going to fit along all of it. So I'm just going to add some glue to the central part of the word, and I'm just going to sit it along there. And then the last thing I need to do is just add some glitter to my flowers. Now, as a really nice finish to your card, you can always decorate the inside to match the front. So there you have a very pretty card. Just swap out the sentiment and it's ideal for any occasion. You've got it in two colourways, both of the same design but just slightly different. And if you've enjoyed the tutorial, please give it the thumbs up. And don't forget, you can find me at the blog Flowers, Ribbons and Pearls, and also at cardmakingmagic.com. I'm also on Pinterest, Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching.